Hey, good afternoon. Michael Wynn, Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates. Guys, how are you doing today? I'm excited to join you today on the video podcast to talk about, do you want to elevate the social media visibility and digital reach for your company or organization? In other words, do you want to rise above and really find greater reach and greater visibility for your brand and for your company? Well, guys, I want to tell you that there is a strong power play that is available to you, but many companies lack. And that is the one-to-one engagement game, which is really about being able to empower your people and staff with their own personal brand, and then giving them the opportunity to be able to go out and perform one-to-one engagement. That's a really, really controversial idea, because I think that a lot of companies struggle with that. And I think the reason why they struggle is because of control. A lot of companies have a social media policy, and there have been plenty of brands in the past who have, suffered at the hands of social media faux pas and, crazy things that have happened on social. But think about this. Put this visual in your mind for a minute. If you have, when you're watching a movie that is about to show a fight scene, a great battle scene, they do start with, the horseman that comes out that has the flag, the flag staff of the brand, of the fighting company that represents the country. And so that brand flag comes out. But you really don't understand the gravity of the size of the war until the army comes over the hill and you see this mass of, foot soldiers and army of that represent, that have the shield, that have the brand mark on it. I think that's a great visual. If we could somehow get our minds around this idea that if we understood that the conversations that are going to happen one-to-one in social media, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever the platform is, if we understand that those are taking place anyway and that we really don't have control, then maybe it's time to think about and create a culture and ignite a spark and equip your people with the tools and training that they need to develop their own personal brand. So obviously, I went and got my haircut today, feeling fresh. I went into my local barber shop, and the hair salon artist, stylist, is clipping my hair. And I thought about it as I was sitting there, I was wondering, I wonder if she has an Instagram account. And if she has an Instagram account, does she take pictures and show, that she cuts hair, that's what that's what she does. And then I thought about, I had a meeting recently with another client. We were talking about how can we, scale the visibility and the digital reach of your organization. And I said, there's a number of things. We went through the list, and I said, one of the things that you're going to really struggle with, it's a lot easier for companies and organizations to put creative and put images behind the brand flag and send that out, because there's control and we can do it. It's much more difficult to assemble the troops who can go out and march in unison, but yet still have their own identity, their own personal brand. So I think this is going to be an interesting play as we continue to move forward in this social age, as people continue to develop and craft their own shape and identity through social. And I think, it goes back to, I talk a lot to realtors and brokers, and it's so funny because you hear the story of, a group of girls, they're at lunch, and, the one says to the other, oh yeah, we're so excited. We just put an offer in on this new house. And in the table, her girlfriend says, I'm a realtor, right? And then everybody's just like, awkward silence. And it's that kind of lack of awareness and lack of personal brand that her friends didn't think about when they are going to make a decision about purchasing or buying a house, that they should have thought about, talking to Karen because she's a realtor. Now I get there's realtors that, buy and sell one or two houses a year and they're really not in the game. But for those who are really in the game and who are really passionate about what they do, why wouldn't companies create a sort of internal structure and training and equipping and empowerment for their leadership teams, whether they were the division leaders or whether they were the sales leaders, in order for those people to have their own personal brand and how they could feel empowered and want to tell the story. I think at the end of the day, we got a lot of people who are at jobs who hate their jobs, who think their lives suck. And that's another reason why it doesn't happen, is because a lot of people are doing stuff because they've made decisions and they're living beyond their means and they're driving expensive cars to impress other people and they're stuck in jobs that they hate. I'm super fortunate that I absolutely love what I do day in and day out. Like it pushes all my buttons. I love the creativity. I love the expression. I love, seeing people tell their story and express their, creativity. So it's exciting for me and I can do it day in and day out. When I get home, I'm still engaged, so that's a rare opportunity. I'm very fortunate to be able to have this field and work in this area that I feel like is a great opportunity. So for you, how can your company start to think about and recognize that whether you like it or not, your employees, your staff, they have their personal brand and they may or may not be leveraging it for their advantage, which ultimately the company benefits from. So I think this is a really interesting play for companies to start thinking about this. Social media policies are not anything new, but what I do think is interesting is, especially when we look at the, for those of you who are familiar with the fire episode, the fire festival that really leveraged influencers. Now, granted, those were models, and obviously they have tens of thousands, millions of followers. So we're not going to see that that's going to happen, at the Ace Hardware store with the guy that runs paints. But if that person is really passionate about what they're doing, why not let them and empower them and train them and give them all the tools that they need to be able to tell their story about the stuff that they do day in and day out and be passionate about it and put that out there? Because I guarantee you it's a lot easier for a brand that has 4 to 5 to 10 staff if every one of those people are empowered on a one-to-one with their own personal brand to begin pushing and sharing their story and their content, compared to the one brand trying to send up the flag. You see how that could really make a huge difference? That could really elevate the social media visibility and digital reach of your organization if you leveraged the personal brand of your leadership team and of the staff. So I think that's something that the companies are going to continue to look at, and no different than continuing education, investment in in your staff and in your organization is going to continue to be a part of companies that are successful and continue to grow. But I think for companies who understand that the internet is deep and wide, but it's deep and wide based on millions and millions and millions of individuals. And each one of those individuals has their own personal brand. And like it or not, that personal brand may be reflecting on your company's social media visibility and digital reach. So it's an interesting thing. I think we're seeing it start to unroll with a lot of boutique shops who are assembling teams and assembling people who already understand and are engaged in their own personal brand campaign and lifestyle, and they're active on social and they put it out there. And I think that that's going to be a method for companies who want to be innovative when it comes to maximizing visibility and maximizing reach on a one-to-one, hand-to-hand digital engagement. That's the power play, guys. Guys, I hope that this talk has inspired you to think about your own personal brand. I hope that you will bring it up within your company organization and or your leadership team. I think it's an engaging and exciting opportunity to be innovative within your own organization when it comes to your social media visibility and enhancing and expanding the digital reach of your company. Guys, thank you so much for your time today. My name is Michael Wynn. I am the Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates, and we will see you tomorrow.